very good morning to you all. This is Ken Trelaw bringing you Trelaw's Talkback.
But Kelly's going through enough as it is without having to put up with such thoughtless treatment.
Hang on a minute, mate.
Yeah, and look, I thought everyone knew about this disease by now. The chances of Duncan catching it while she treated him are 1,000,000 to 1.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, and that's if Kelly is HIV positive. I mean, we don't know yet. Duncan's got more chance of being hit by a car or falling downstairs and catching it.
Just let us explain, eh?
Yeah, I'd like you to explain. About yesterday, dropping in for coffee, that show of support. I mean, didn't that mean anything? Was that just for appearance's sake?
No, of course not.
Hang on a minute, you two.
A dedicated, hard-working professional who contracted this insidious disease while treating a patient. Last night, a very narrow-minded member of this community refused to let this doctor treat her son. Incredible, isn't it? That after 10 years of public education, such ignorance and hysteria can still prevail. Now, I'm not afraid to name names because Mrs. Ailsa Stewart has already confirmed all the facts with me. Quite frankly, small-minded, bigoted people like her are not the sort of people we want living here in Summer Bay.
Kelly wouldn't have rung the radio. That's the last thing she'd want.
Well, how did this Trelaw bloke get over the flaming story anyway?
I don't know.
But he can't get away with this, can he? He can't do that to us.
It's a free country.
There should be laws protecting against that sort of thing. He's not going to give her a chance.
Well, 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 look who we have here. Yes, Mrs. Stewart. Please, come in, take a seat. Mrs. Stewart, welcome to the program. You obviously changed your mind about wanting to explain yourself to the listeners.
Yes, well, I felt I had to.
Well, why don't we take a few calls first so she can hear exactly what people are thinking. I believe we have Bruce online. Bruce, you're next online. Hello.
Yeah, hi. As someone who's HIV too, I'm sick to death of being treated like an alien. I mean, there might be laws preventing it, but they still don't stop us being made to feel like lepers.
I certainly don't.
I hope one day that you get treated the same so you'll know what it's like.
Well, thank you, Bruce. Unfortunately,
What? Well, I don't. I hope nobody ever has to go through this.
We'd like to think.
You want me to turn it off?
Say something. See, that's why I came in here, to explain why I chose another doctor.
And I'd like to thank you for being available, too, to talk to us and answer all the questions.
Yeah, and I'd like to. Please, you see, I need to tell you what happened. It wasn't quite as simple as it might sound.
And our next caller is Jeanette. Good morning. Hello.
Yes. Hi, Ken.
This is ridiculous.
I've specialised in caring for AIDS patients for a number of years now, and you'd be surprised how many people are still
turning into a
incredibly
witch hunt.
ignorant about
Sounds
it.
like it.
I've seen patients' families cut them off and want nothing to do with them anymore. They
Doesn't
won't
he
even kiss
realise
them
that
goodbye
Ailsa was
or touch
just
them
trying
or-
to protect
or anything.
Duncan?
You know what they're like, people. All they can see are ratings.
Yeah, and meanwhile Ailsa has to
Mrs.
suffer
Stewart
for
could
it.
see the
Well, that's it,
incredible
Michael.
pain and
After today, I am
suffering
not
these
listening to this
causes.
radio station
She
ever again.
realised that what these
Could you
people
turn up a
need
bit,
is our
please?
compassion and tolerance, not judgment and condemnation.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jeanette, but sadly, those qualities seem to be lacking in society today. Did you know that there were almost no chance of your son contracting the virus through simple suturing, Mrs. Stewart?
Well, yes, I knew it was highly unlikely, but...
But you were still willing to treat this doctor like, what did Bruce say, an alien?
No.
And our next caller is Patricia. You're next online. Hello.
Ken?
Yes, Patricia, go ahead.
Look, I'd just like to say as a parent, I can sort of understand what Mrs. Stewart did. I've only got one child, and I love him so much. I'd hate doing anything to put him in any sort of danger at all.
Well, thank you, Patricia. Thank you for the call.
No. You see, don't you see, that's my point.
Did you ask the doctor if your son would be safe, Mrs. Stewart? Did you ask her if it was going to be safe?
I'm sorry?
Well, I was just wondering if the doctor had a chance to explain just how safe the procedure was, whether you voiced your fears or whether you just hit her with it point blank. What did you do?
She was just about to start.
And you said what?
Nothing.
So nothing's been said?
No, it happened so quickly, you see.
And
I
the doctor
wasn't
just...
intending it. I wasn't
Would you have
intending any
done?
effect.
And you said,
I don't know.
What excuse?
Protecting your
excuse
child,
me?
they're pretty strong instinct, Shane.
No?
But, you see, there wasn't time. I looked at my son, and then I said, I want another doctor.
Okay, Sue from Sandy Heights, you're next online. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Ken. I'd just like to say I agree with you. People around here used to be much more polite and understanding. I mean, this sort of thing really makes me wonder what's happening to the old Summer Bay.
Well, thank you, Sue. And Sess from Rafters Beach is next online. Sess, hello.
G'day, Ken. I'm with the last caller, especially when we're setting ourselves up as a tourist destination. You've got to get angry when you hear stories like this.
Exactly, Sess. That's what I thought when I heard it too. I thought there might have been a misunderstanding.
2 chocolate milkshakes, please, thanks. Get them yourself, I'm busy.
It appears not. For anyone who's just tuned in, our topic is discrimination against people who are HIV positive. And Our next caller is Mrs. Nicholson. Mrs. Nicholson, hello.
Hello, good morning. I have known Mrs. Stewart for many years, and I have to say...
Just a minute,
I'm
Mrs.
terribly
Nicholson,
disappointed.
isn't it true that you were the one who started spreading this rumour in the first place?
The rumour? I thought we just heard that it's all true.
No, about the doctor being HIV positive, possibly.
And if you hadn't heard the rumours, you never would have asked for another doctor. That's a rather feeble attempt to shift the blame, don't you think?
She was spreading confidential information, and what could be justifiable about that?
Because, Mrs. Stewart, she was concerned that this doctor's friends knew she needed support. I mean, this is a community that cares for and, wherever possible, tries to help its members. I'm sure the doctor concerned would be heartened by such a show of public support, particularly in
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think even though what Ailsa did was pretty terrible.
But it wasn't. I mean, I really didn't think it was that big a deal.
Well, it is now. You know what sort of influence this guy has on people around here?
I don't know.
Because I know I couldn't go into that diner of hers again. What about you, Ken?
Hang on, we've got one last call. It's Pandora?
Yes. Hello, Ken. Thanks for letting me on. I'd just like to know whether you have children.
Yes, I do.
So what would you have done in the same situation as Mrs. Stewart?
I would have let the doctor treat them, of course.
Because you know the risk of infection in that procedure is minimal.
Yes.
So why were you so keen to stop that man smoking in that restaurant? Didn't you say you went up to someone in the restaurant and complained about their smoking?
Yes, but there's a proven link between passive smoking and lung cancer.
Regularly and over a period of time, yes. But there's no evidence that one night or even occasional exposure yields anything more than the smallest increase in the chance of lung cancer.
Just like the risk of catching HIV from suturing is also remote. I presume that's your point.
Well, partly. But I'd also like to know whether you asked that man to explain the risks he was exposing your child to. Did you even give him a chance to say anything? Or did you just hit him with it?
I don't quite think the analogy holds up.
Well, either you asked him to stop because you discriminate against smoking, or...
I do, but I've admitted that. But smoking is a medically proven killer.
Well, what's AIDS, for heaven's sake?
People don't choose to get AIDS.
But they do want to avoid the consequences. Just like you, very understandably, want to avoid the consequences of smoking. But Mrs. Stewart hasn't done anything that we haven't all done about something, somewhere, sometime. And she wasn't mean about it, or vindictive, or aggressive. She may have overreacted, but she was just being a mum looking out for her little boy. And if people are going to go around treating her like the enemy and boycotting her business over it, then they should stop listening to your radio station too, don't you think?
Well, obviously a boycott's a little over the top. I've always found the Bayside Diner a great place to drop into for a snack. And I guess the lesson we can learn from all of this is understanding. I mean, if we all make the effort to understand each other a little more, then a lot of these issues can be resolved peacefully, as indeed they should be in a peaceful community like Summer Bay. I'm Ken Trelaw. It is 5 minutes to the hour.
Hi. Come in.